Hi everybody, so let's talk about Croatia and things to know before you come here. I have a list of things that I'll go through very quickly. Hopefully it won't be a very long video, but if you're looking at coming to Croatia at your first time, this video will hopefully help you. As I mentioned, I'm at the end of my 2 weeks here in Croatia with my girlfriend who flew back this morning back to the UK, and I'm back to Melbourne tomorrow morning at 4 a.m, 3 flights, 2 connections. It's going to be painful, but it's worth the 2 weeks that we spent here in Croatia. Just for the record, actually, we were here for a wedding and it was an incredible wedding.
We're at my brother's wedding. It's the 14th of September 2019. It is
She knows the
D-Day. Yeah, I got the date right this time.
You did, 14th of September.
And it's the most glorious day. There isn't a breath of wind still. It's gorgeous, it's warm. We're on Lockram Island and it feels like a hidden paradise.
And couldn't have asked for a better wedding with the weather, which was absolutely amazing. It was beautiful, sunny, 27 degrees Celsius, incredible people. Thank you so much for having us. The wedding was amazing. I really appreciate the invite and thanks for the champagne. Yes, I'm actually drinking some of the champagne now, but I don't drink champagne. I don't drink anything normally in general. Robyn and I, we found it in the fridge this morning and we're like, oh shit, we forgot to drink the champagne. Shit, we can't waste it. What are you gonna do? Robyn's like, I can't take it with me. You have to drink it. I'm like, I don't drink champagne. And she goes, drink it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm having a few glasses, right? I'm celebrating an amazing 2 weeks, right? So let's move along. So first tip on the list is bring Kuna and Euro. So depending on where you're traveling from, they will accept both currencies in certain places. So in most smaller restaurants and marketplaces and on the street and that kind of thing, it's Kuna only. So K-U-N-A, Kuna, it's a local currency. Euro, they will accept, it seems to be in the higher end of the hotel chain. So I paid for my first Booking.com accommodation in Euro, and this one here was paid in Euro, but everywhere else they only accept Kuna. Even fancy restaurants seem to only accept Kuna. So when you go to an ATM machine here in Croatia, the ATM machine will give you Kuna, and then you'll work with Kuna, so you can do your own calculations and conversions. But I have been carrying around both Kuna and Euro with me, and if I need extra Kuna, I just exchange my euros, and then I use my bank cards to get out extra Kuna if need be. Tap water is the second one on my list. I know it sounds like a weird thing to know. I guess the thing to know there is that it's completely safe to drink the water from the taps. I travel a lot through Asia, so if you're from Europe, it might seem a little weird to mention this, but you know, if you're from Australia and you travel to Asia, or you're from Asia, this is a handy tip. You don't need to freak out and drink only bottled water. In fact, I find the tap water here tastes really amazing, really nice, more than in Australia. The tap water from Australia has a very strong chlorine taste, and the water from the taps here just tastes really nice. So I actually prefer tap water over bottled water here in Croatia. So I've been filling up my water bottle with the tap water here, and Robyn and I, we go on our daily adventures drinking tap water from a bottle, and we save money and it tastes pretty good. So completely safe to drink the tap water. The third thing on my list is that it's expensive. So, you know, we all know there are some European countries that are crazy expensive. I, in my mind, for some reason, thought that Croatia would be, you know, relatively cheap to travel to and through, but it turns out to be very expensive, like crazy. I'll give you an idea. So I've been looking at menus wherever I go to, and I look at how much things cost, and then I do the conversion back to Australian dollars. I found that there are a couple of places where coffee, right? There's some places wanting up to 8 Australian dollars for a cup of coffee. Now, I don't know about you, but that's like more than what you pay at most airports around the world. And I don't eat cheeseburgers, but I know like some people eat cheeseburgers. I'm like, I'll just like go through the menu and just see, you know, 25 Australian dollars for a cheeseburger at some of the restaurants around here. Now in Australia, a cheeseburger is like literally like 2 pieces of bread with cheese and yeah, there's a cheeseburger. Now, as I said, I don't eat cheeseburgers, but just to give you, you know, a frame of reference, around 25 Australian dollars. Now it's not that expensive everywhere, but that's like up to 25 Australian dollars. So that's just crazy. So, you know, and to go on the next tangent with this point, Robyn and I spent around 500 to 700 kunas per day on food. So that's around, what is it, 80, 90 Australian dollars per day on food. And that's literally, we're talking like breakfast with some coffee and dinner, but like fish and chips, right? We always eat fish and chips wherever we go. We're not talking rump steak. We're not talking ribeye, you know, the expensive cuts, 300, 500 gram cuts of meat. We're talking fish and chips, right? So 90, call it 100 Australian dollars. And the accommodation that I'm in now, and I'll finish this point with this, that I'm in right now is around 100, about 93 Australian dollars a night. So at the moment, we're spending around 200 Australian dollars per day on accommodation and food. So that's more expensive than what I expected. But, you know, just keep in mind that if you eat at any seaside restaurant, anywhere by the sea, the Adriatic Sea here in Croatia, you're gonna pay a ton more than if you eat at some little restaurant on the corner 3 or 4 or 5 streets back or hidden away from popular tourist locations. The next one on my list, and the door was about to slam. That door was about to slam behind the camera, it freaked me out. The next one is water shoes. Now, water shoes are a must if you're coming to Croatia because there are a lot of sea urchins, those black prickly things, and I don't know if you've ever stepped on one of those things, but I've never stepped on one, but I've seen photos on Google Images. It could totally ruin your holiday. So make sure that, and there are lots of those sea urchins here. You can eat them apparently, but there are lots of sea urchins here. And if you step on them, it's gonna really, really hurt. You'll be pulling those spikes out and it's gonna suck. So water shoes or sea shoes or ocean, whatever, Crocs, if you call them Crocs, we call them Crocs back home in Oz. They'll allow you just to walk, the door's gonna slam. They'll allow you to walk through the ocean, like the shallow beaches, step on rocks without worrying about sea urchins. But if you don't bring water shoes or Crocs, the water's pretty clear. It's actually beautifully clear, like it's nice, like that emerald color water as you're pulling it on a boat, as the boat's about to dock, is really, really, you never get sick of that. I found every time our boat pulled up, I looked down and it's like, wow, the water's so clear, you can see right to the bottom, and that nice emerald color, and you could see for like 4 or 5 meters deep. I'm a scuba diver and I'm like, man, I wish I had I could throw a tank on and go down. I totally want to see what's under here. It's really, really beautiful. The water's really clear. So even if you don't take water shoes, it's not a deal breaker because you can see the water, like it's quite clear, you know where you're placing your feet. And also as well, the beaches here are quite rocky. I haven't seen any sandy beaches around here whatsoever. The beach is like really like fine pebbles, like the door's gonna slam. The beaches, the rocks are quite pebbly. It's hard to walk on those pebbly rocks with just bare feet. I have very soft feet. I wear shoes all the time, so it's really just not comfortable. And you're like, oh, ouch, oh, ow, ow, ow. And the rocks on the rock walls are very, very, very sharp. You'll cut your feet, so you'll need boots or Crocs or whatever for cliffs and beaches around here. The next one on my list is power adapters. Man, that's dark. 1 second. Sorry. Next one on my list is power adapters. This one's an easy one. Where's my power adapter? 2-prong European connection. Easy. Next one on my list is mosquito repellent. Totally overlooked this one. The mosquitoes here actually eat you. That's what it feels like. Some of the flies back home in Australia, like in the real outback, there's huge flies and they just kind of, and sometimes you can't even see them in Croatia, like they're kind of stealth looking things. So you like feel something bite you and you look down and you go, you can't even see it. It's like, what bit me? And you're like scratching and then you're sitting at the table and then, and then you look down, where is it? So sometimes there's a big fly there, and other times you don't know what's biting you. So midget flies or sand flies, I don't know what they are. But anyway, mosquito repellent, I do recommend that. Next one is English is widely spoken. So don't worry about trying to do a Croatian language course before you get here. Dobrodošli, u Dubrovnik. Dobrodošli, u Dubrovnik. Doesn't roll off the tongue. It's nice to like learn how to say thank you, hello, goodbye, how are you, how much, where, which direction. It's helpful, but you know, in my experience here for 2 weeks with Robyn, everyone that I've come, every Croat that I've met, they know how to say hi, goodbye, how much. They give you the prices in English. The English is pretty good here, so don't freak out. You'll be understood. The next one is plan islands you want to visit. So this is important, I think, because in my head, I thought Croatia was like all the islands were just easy to get to. Like you just go, I want to go to Var, and I want to go to Lokrum, and I want to go to Krik and this, and I could just do them all in like a week or two. No, there's 1,200 islands, and they're all scattered from north to south in the Adriatic Sea, and so it's best to actually plan, where you want to be based as your port, like where you want to be based on the coast, and then pick a group of islands close to that port. For example, we've spent 2 weeks being based in Cavtat or Cavtat, and so we have a couple of islands nearby this place, like Lokrum and a few other places, and we have like Dubrovnik and the old town there, and like 2 or 3 other islands. So that's kind of our radius of practical, adventure. We would never go to Var or anything sort of further north because it's just too far to get a boat to. You'd have to kind of hop a few islands to get there, and it'll take you like the whole day. It's just not smart. And be based somewhere on the port nearby, like Split or Cavtat or whatever, and then just plan your adventures from that island. That's my best piece of advice. The next one is road trip to a nearby country. This is my second last tip. Road trip to a nearby country. Robyn and I, we hired a car. Cost us 50 euros per day. Included insurance, taxes. If we crashed the car and it was our fault, the excess would be like 300 euro. So yeah, and Robyn drove because she has an international driver's permit. I don't. We did a separate video where we did a road trip to Montenegro. Highly recommended. Like if you're, watching this from Europe and you have an international driver's permit, why not hire a car in Croatia and do a road trip somewhere else in Croatia? Because Croatia is such a long country, just hire a car and just drive from one end to the other, stay in Split for a few nights, go to Zagreb, stay for, whatever. Or drive to a nearby country like, Cavtat is so close to the Montenegro. It's like 30 minutes from the border. We're like, man, we could just slip straight into Montenegro for a day. So Robyn and I, we hired this car and we spent 12 hours in Montenegro. Then we drove back later that night. So we did a separate video on that. But you have Serbia over here. You've got Hungary over there. You've got Budapest. No, you've got like all these nearby. Italy's just across the road. It's crazy. Everything's really close. You probably couldn't drive to Italy. It's probably more like a boat. But anyway, just consider a road trip. It's really, really worth it if you have a driver's permit or a license. The last one on my list is try the local wine and bread with olive oil. Now, this is a weird thing coming from a guy that's not really a foodie. I'm more into fitness and training and that kind of stuff. But it was kind of weird getting bread at a restaurant. It's very, very common here. People get bread, they get olive oil, they tip it down, and then they get the bread and they dunk it in the olive oil and they eat it. I was like, who does that? Who eats oil like that? Who puts oil on bread and eats that? I don't do that. It's crazy. But everybody does it, and that's what you should do when you come to Croatia, apparently. So I tried the wine here, the local wine. I don't have a palate for it. I was with Robyn's father, who's passionate about wine, and he loved it. I actually enjoyed it too. So apparently trying the local wine is something to do if you're into your wine, but definitely bread with olive oil. The olive oil here tastes really, really nice. It doesn't taste like the olive oil back home. There's something different about the taste. I can't tell you what it is, but Try it with some bread. When you go to a restaurant, ask for bread and you'll get olive oil and pour it and taste it for yourself. It tastes really, really nice. I know, strange coming from me, but I do recommend it. So that is it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you've been to Croatia, let me know what your favorite island was that you visited, or what your favorite thing to do was. If you have any suggestions or any other, things to offer to help other people, let me know in the comments, and I'd be more than happy to chip in. But I'm not a professional, but 2 weeks in one spot, I have a really pretty good read on the place. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Goodbye.